All right. We got some things to get into.
Love and marriage.
Love and
The
marriage. And that,
part.
okay, so when I say they're giving, like this reunion has been giving since part one. Like,
I think so. I'm glad that it's lighter. It feels refreshing, a little bit more refreshing than last year. Last year was
how
like
so? Because Tisha came in swinging,
she came in swinging, but Tisha, no one takes her really seriously.
which is so annoying. But you know that's the annoying part that
Yeah,
that she doesn't know that it's not being taken seriously.
yeah. I
That's
mean,
the annoying part for me.
let her have her come out swinging. I feel good about how I showed up this time around. We'll give it to you.
I
But
guess.
one thing Carlos King said, I think in like a recent interview with Mel or just like a live, she carries the energy of the room. So
I love when he said that
yeah. So
because it's so true.
last year when she was just like
Not giving nothing, not giving
it was just
anything.
like dang. It was like, Mel, we need you here.
Give us something because it's dead in this room. Like,
Right.
we need your energy. We need you.
So to that point, this time around, it feels lighter, it feels refreshing, and we get some interjections from Mel who we really want to hear from, you know?
I get that. I get that. Yeah. It just kind of makes me think of like the Nene Leakes effect. Like remember when Nene started to like disengage?
Uh-huh. And that reunion when they had when they
Yeah.
went I think they went to Japan that year, and it was just like me, Nene was just like, and you were just like, give.
We need you.
We need a one-liner from you. Please. I said what I said. Something. We see each other. Something.
Give something.
But yeah.
But
No, it
yeah,
was good.
so okay, so part one, it was like, like okay, what I also like too is that I know we're jumping around, right? But the way it ended, right? So with Tisha calling out Kiki and her husband and y'all do this and y'all have had y'all stuff and y'all
Yeah.
and what Kiki gave in part two, I knew she was gonna give, like just
Yeah.
based on who she is, right? So the cliffhanger, she didn't really say anything. But I
Right.
was like, she's gonna respond and be like, okay. And that's exactly what she did part two. She was like, and yeah,
And
that
now
happened.
and now no one has anything to talk about. Like
Oh, what right.
if Tisha would just own and just move on with it,
I'm so tired.
nobody would
I'm
care.
so, you know what? Kimmy brought up a good point. Kimmy was like, I love the way Kimmy answers questions because Carlos, he asked Kimmy and Mel, right?
Okay,
Basically,
first
like,
of all, don't go into the answer before you go into the Kimmy, you got it. Please talk about that first.
what?
Kimmy, you got it.
Right?
No, Mel,
Okay,
you
okay,
got it.
okay. No,
No, Kimmy, you got
well,
it.
back.
That was hilarious.
That no, but that was the answer,
All
right?
right.
That's the answer. Who gonna go first?
That was hilarious. And when they cut to Tisha looking like, okay, somebody go.
But
Anybody.
when Kimmy said when she was like, like at this point, it's been a long conversation. We don't have anything concrete, so no one's come with anything concrete. They
Yeah.
know things concretely, I believe, but
Yeah.
no one has come to the show with anything concrete. So at this point, we
Right.
like
At this point, they're more affirmed that it didn't happen because nobody has come forward
no
and we've
one.
been talking about this for years. So I'm with Kimmy. And I understand to an extent Tisha as a wife being like, I mean, what do y'all want from me? Like, I don't have anything
Understood that
concrete.
point too.
I have children with this man. We've been married for this long. I have nothing of evidence to show for. So what do you want me to do? Like,
And Mel, and you know what? Mel built perfectly off of what Kimmy said because Mel said that she was like, as a wife, when you're married for so long, you have kids, like before you do anything, you need that concrete.
right.
You
Like
need you need
nobody,
you need proof,
no
basically.
one in their right mind is going to be like, okay, we're done.
Okay,
And
you said like, people are
right,
saying
people
it's
are
like you're gonna have
saying
to show me
X, Y, Z.
something.
Now, and this is my humble opinion, allegedly, I think that, among Tisha and Marceau, she has evidence that something has happened. I
She, of
do
course she
think.
does.
Yeah, but let's
Just not. We're not gonna see it.
call a spade a spade. But at this point, like as people who are watching, why do you even care at this point? Draw your own conclusion and move forward because we're not getting anything from
Nothing.
it.
And I'm tired of the conversation. Like at this point, you know how it's like when you speak to somebody, they lied. Like the truth. So you're
Right.
like, what's the point? Like,
What's
we
the
already
point?
know.
Right.
I'm done with the conversation. For her to sit there and say he's never done whatever, for him to sit there and smirk because he knows like
Are he looking at Mel like
he's
what she
protected. Right.
he was like, okay, Mel, keep it cute because Kimmy did. you know?
I mean, literally, like, I feel like this reunion is going to be Tisha trying to come out and stand up, stand up for herself, stand up for her
Yeah.
marriage,
And good for her.
have a voice, I guess.
I
Have
say
have a
I say
voice.
good for her. I mean, Tisha is someone who I like. I mean, I've been vocal about it. I've never related to her, but I say good for her for saying, "Look, enough is enough. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say." Now, a lot of it is coming off rehearsed, but I'm happy that she has finally said, "Let me do something here. Let me say
Yeah,
something here." You know?
yeah, yeah. But I mean, okay, so the exchange between her and Stormy, you know,
Annoying.
okay, so the only thing that I walked away from it was, again, Tisha doesn't take accountability,
Yeah,
right? Like, just take accountability for your team, like plagiarizing basically
yeah.
Stormy's website, and just own up to it.
Because truth be told, like, okay, the last point that Tisha made was my business did well from this. Now, Stormy was correct. I've given you grace because legally, if you plagiarize something and then you show that you had a monetary gain from it, which it sounds like her business did well, then there could be something there. So
But remember,
Stormy, you can give her some grace.
Stormy, yeah, that was a loaded statement. The way she said it, she pointed at her like, I gave you, because it
Right.
could have went,
Right.
it could have went another way.
Yeah, but that's when as an attorney, I'm like, Tisha's not too bright to be like, I mean, our sales were great from this because you plagiarized and you profited from it. Let's not advertise that.
I think most of us feel like Tisha's not too bright.
yeah. I was actually kind of disappointed in for the first time, really. I think his name is Dustin Ross or Dustin.
Oh, yeah, the one that does the reviews with
Yeah,
Carlos.
with Carlos. I love his takes normally.
Yeah, brilliant.
But this time around, he said, like, what we know about Tisha is that she's smart. She's degreed up. Degrees don't mean ish, in my opinion. And we have degrees. To say
Yeah.
like someone is smart and the evidence is because they have a degree is kind of laughable, especially when we've seen she's kind of simple.
But
you know?
that's the thing. I think, okay, so you know how like back in the old days they say you have book smarts, but you ain't got no. She can pick up book smarts. She can
Yeah.
pick up, right. She can pick up educational material. I think she can do that because what we found out was that a lot of their businesses are in her name. A lot
Right.
of the businesses, like she helped to, spearhead and start, and then
Mhm.
handed it over to Marceau,
Yeah.
which is another reason. Like, why would you even crap on a woman that is helping you build your life up?
Right.
Like when Mel
Again.
said, "Uncross your legs,
Right. And please,
sir."
I love how quick she is.
Yeah,
Because that was just a low blow. Like we call them Rogers women, or
exactly,
why?
exactly, exactly. But getting back to Tisha, I do think she can pick up things from an academic standpoint, but the street smarts girl, the common sense, the discernment, yeah, it's lacking.
And I'm going to allege here and say because this is something I know for myself to be true. I did well in school, but it took hard work. It took a lot of work and concentration, more so than the average person, to get to where I was. I have a feeling that Tisha, it doesn't just come easy. Like she
I don't
really
think
got
it
to
comes
work at
easy. I think she's able to do it though. And okay, okay, look at how Tisha fixates on the theme around my husband is this when it's clear
Right.
that he's another way, right?
Mhm.
I think it just takes that level of fixation to study, to learn something.
Right. Yeah.
So like
And
I
that's
could see her doing it. I don't think it's easy, but the way she fixates on things,
yeah.
I could see her being able to do it.
I mean,
All it is memorization.
I hear you. Bottom line, I just don't think she's that bright. That's
I
just my
do.
that's my
No, I mean bright, smart.
that's my
Again, bright, smart, two different
yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm gonna go with that one. Going back to Kiki though, I was kind of disappointed in how they handled, and when I say they, Carlos. and some of the cast, how they handle, okay, if she really does have a problem still, this ain't gonna help. You know?
It's such a cop
I
out.
don't think she does. Let me say that. I don't think she is continue. I don't think she is still using drugs.
No, I don't
Um,
think so either. But I think it's just a cop out for them. It's just something that they can quickly grab onto.
yeah.
And if she were having that issue, like, what do you think that would do? Like, how do you think she would spiral with you?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like it was irresponsible how
Yeah,
they handled it.
like, thank God we don't think she is. Thank God she's not, probably, because if she were, you're just making it harder for her to come out of it. Like, why would you use that as your play?
Exactly.
It's a
It's
family
actually
member.
it's kind of disgusting.
That's very
Um,
disgusting.
but at the end of the day, you know, when you, I feel like at Tisha's at that point where she's done. So, and I mean, to Tisha's, I'll say credit, I guess she
What is
has
her face?
the drink in her face, the okay, I'm not going to say anything about your marriage, and then you know we did see her bring it up on camera with Mel.
But that was when they brought up the drugs, wasn't it?
I don't know. All I know is they've gone tit for tat, and at this point, they're both done. So at that point, you know, you really don't have a level of let me
Of
give
care.
some grace.
Yeah, yeah. It's all
So,
consideration is gone. Like
yeah,
it's out the window.
right. Everything, the things I would have given you, the grace I would have given you, I'm done with that. So I kind of understand it.
Yeah,
I don't know that I could get there with addiction, but that's where she is.
and what it's so from the outside looking in, right? We can all we. It's easy for us to be like, when you argue with a clown, when you argue with a fool,
Mhm.
right? It's hard to tell who's who.
Right.
So there's things, I feel like there's things that you can use or you can say to a person without getting down to such a level where it's like, okay, druggy, you like, that's essentially what they're saying.
It's just weird. Like it kind of
Comes
shows.
above it, but still check somebody.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it shows how low people are capable of going.
And I think Mel and Kimmy do a good job at that, where it's like, I can
And
check
Stormy.
you. And Stormy, yeah, I can check you, but I don't have to go to the gutter.
Yeah.
And that's where the smart versus bright and
Right.
strategic, right? That's the difference that I think, like, where you said it earlier, it's very simple, like very, very elementary in how she
Yep.
goes back and forth with people. And that's the thing that irks me about her. It's like, girl, climb up out the 8-year-old you.
Right.
Like, please
It's like the whole pill popping,
elevate into womanhood. Like,
paying with your TikTok money, it landed very flat to me because
very
at the end of
flat.
the day, no matter what source, what's the source of the money, she's a multimillionaire. So it
Pay
doesn't
your
matter what.
invoices. Okay, like, like, again, what's the evidence? What's the proof? Like, what's
Right. Some people have been in my DMs saying she doesn't pay her invoices. Okay.
there in
No.
everybody's DMs? Like,
Yeah.
so it's just a simplicity where it's like, I feel like we're gonna get more simplicity from Tisha.
And quite frankly, if it were me on that reunion, if I were Stormy, I'd have been like, so we're saying that DMs are valid because we've all gotten DMs about your husband.
And you know what? She might have said that, because you could tell that Carlos like switched gears with when Stormy and Tisha were having their banter or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. The editing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing. When you watch reunions, you be like, okay, I know that there was more here. They cut off the meat.
Especially as smart as Stormy is, like, come on now.
Yeah. Yeah. Because all they gave us was, I gave you grace. That was it. I know she said more than that.
The way she pointed that finger, because I gave you,
she
okay.
meant she meant it.
But I feel like this was like from Carlos's perspective, being the host and like being the executive producer over this show. I feel like he was leaning into protecting Tisha a little bit.
He was.
I don't understand why. Like,
Um,
it just, I don't understand. Like, help me understand why we're protecting her so much. Is it because she's been drugged through the mud for so many seasons and it's like, give her a break?
I think that's it. Like I think as a producer, you have your producer hat on. He might be privy to information like she's tired, she's at her wits end. She
Yeah.
might have been like, look, this might be my last season if
Might be
y'all, I'm tired of hearing this about my husband and there's no proof. So he might be privy to that information where he's like, all right, let me jump in here, so
yeah.
you never know.
Yeah. And that's smart, because whether we like feel like Tisha is our girl, like we can relate to her, whether we feel like Marceau is, a faithful husband or whatever, they are constantly giving us something to talk about each season.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Even if
And
we're
their
like,
main
girl, we're tired of talking about it, we're still talking about it.
right. I mean, they have proven time and time again that the core six, as Kimmy likes to call it, whenever they are on screen together, we love it. So
Yeah.
they're not going to mess up that formula. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As much as they can, because I think Mel is strategic, and I could see her being maybe over it in a year or so.
Yeah. And I mean doing a spinoff, like doing something else.
Right.
But,
Exactly.
and honestly, I'm so tired of Mel having to defend herself against Martell. Like I'm
Yep.
so tired of her having to be in his space,
Yep.
breathe his same air. Like I can only imagine having to sit, like a few feet away from him
Yep.
and have to banter back and forth with a man that's so despicable. So
Yeah.
I hope honestly that she does get that spinoff into something else because
I agree. I agree.
I'm so
Going
sick of
into
Martell.
that, going into that segment with Martell and Mel, um, the question that Carlos asked, does it hurt you when your kids are with Martell and the other woman? And
So,
I mean, I loved her answer because any mom would be the same way. Like I'm going in protective mode because she's shown me what she's capable of when it comes to my family. She's shown me what she's capable of when it comes to me. And if you don't like me, you clearly would not have any love and protection and care for my children. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
anytime they're in your in two, we all know and have seen that this woman has talked negatively and spoken negatively about these children publicly.
Has she?
So
About the two?
yes, there have been a few lives, one in particular. She basically said, like, because I think they were in her um feed saying how respectful and kind and good these Mel's kids and Mel and Martell's kids are. And she was like, if y'all only knew, like, she basically kind of went in a little bit, like it wasn't necessary. As someone who's responsible, you wouldn't do that, especially if you are with the man whose children they are. You wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? So it just was like it was in poor taste. But we've seen the lengths she will go, to the point of she considered allegedly Martell's proposition with regard to that revenge
That
piece.
revenge. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So, I mean, what
My
else?
thing is, okay, they have an older daughter, an oldest daughter. I
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how old she is, but I'm thinking what, 11?
Oriah's probably 12
Okay,
now.
11, 12. Clearly, like she's probably seen more more of the evidence of what happened between Mel and Martell. She
Right.
can definitely make more sense of it. She
Mm-hmm.
probably knows who this woman is. So Martell, as her father,
Child.
you get like as her father, why
That's
would you
a lot
have
of Martell. He's shown us that he is morally and emotionally basically bankrupt. So you're asking a lot of this man.
like to be so oblivious or to act like you don't understand why she doesn't want to peacefully co-parent with you, right? Well, why she doesn't want to make peace, and I'm speaking about Mel, like to put on this show of, well, why can't we just, sir?
You think he's oblivious, or like you
That's
said,
why I
he's
said he's
on
acting
himself?
oblivious, like he's acting, you
It's
know.
definitely intentional. Like he knows what he does behind the scenes. He knows how he's treated Mel behind closed doors. And he also knows that he has put on a good face and built up this name for himself, that he's the good guy, as Kimmy likes to, would have liked to call him. I'm sure she has backed off of that now,
Oh,
but
so
I hope so. Right. But to that point, he does a good job of, I mean, he basically is a chameleon, like in the public. I mean, there's only so much you can do. Your true colors start to unravel, and that's
yeah,
what's happening with him. I've never seen someone lack so much self-awareness and so much resistance to growth.
yeah,
He is like the epitome of like the telltale story of someone who is going to get knocked down
all the way down.
repeatedly until he gets it.
And it's so sad because you have, I'm gonna be honest, I'm here for Mel and Martell's children.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
where my consideration goes. It's sad because
Right.
you have these beautiful children that are relying on you to elevate, you know,
To
to learn
grow,
from this.
like to be
Like your
better.
family was dismantled. You can't look at that, look at the effect and say, whatever it is, I'm gonna take it on the chest because I put us here. Whatever it is, I'm gonna show up humble. I'm gonna show up, you know, like I'm gonna show up graceful. I'm gonna give Mel as much peace as she deserves because I put her through hell.
Instead, this man is still, I mean, this man is still trying to deflect and project, and we're
Mm-mm-mm.
still having the same conversation that, oh, she cheated too. My dude, stop,
Stop.
please.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
please stop.
He's in like the level of denial and resistance
Hmm.
that is internally within him, like it's gonna be destructive.
Right. Yeah.
Which again is sad because it doesn't have to be destructive.
I honestly, like you said, I hate it for Mel, because I do see comments a lot of times, and I feel like these are women who basically have zero discernment, really. But I see comments of people saying, like, basically Mel and Martell are birds of a feather, or one and the same, and they're going back and forth, and they're tired of the tit for tat. But it's like,
Okay.
really? That's what y'all see out of this? Y'all don't see
One and
that
the same.
y'all don't see that this man antagonizes her. He uses the other woman. He does not want her, because if
No,
he did, he would
clearly,
have
because if he
been with
did, they
her.
would be like it would be,
He
you
would
know,
have been with her. He would
yeah,
have married her. He wouldn't have had a whatever he had with Sheree, which we all know. Like, come on, that
a
was a
business
different story.
arrangement.
Right. But he wouldn't have entertained any of that. And he would be with her now, like out and proud and loud and publicly.
Right.
The only reason that he is with her, in my opinion, is I think he tries to weaponize her against Mel. That's all I think that is. He knows that this was the other woman, and number one, he needs a place to stay, and number two, he can weaponize her against Mel. That's it.
Pathetic. Okay.
Right. And you know what? I try to be careful about how I talk about God's children. But
Child.
I'll say this: the way he is showing up currently and has shown up is pathetic.
Yeah.
It's pathetic.
And when you step this far out of God's instruction and, you know, like just being a good human being,
Hmm.
then
Yeah.
I don't think anyone needs to watch how they talk about him at this point.
I mean, well, I'll say this, and I'll venture to say that this isn't the last. I mean, we heard that he got arrested. This isn't the last part of his downfall. I feel like we're gonna see, because he's not getting the lesson.
Child.
But the last thing I was gonna bring up was, this is the last thing I can talk about, and I'm kind of over it. But I'll give her a little bit of time. And I'm only gonna say Miss, because she's an elder. But
Betty.
but the alliteration is, I want to be like, bye Betty, bye Betty, but I'm gonna say bye Miss Betty. But I mean, she was just annoying. She's just another Wanda. Like, you could go.
Because you cannot be this bothered with Mel.
Mind your business.
You can't be this bothered that Mel didn't jump into the comments. You get what I'm saying?
But who does that?
No one
Nobody.
does it. No one does it.
Stormy hasn't jumped into the comments for Mel. None of the cast has jumped in the comments for each other to defend the other. So why would you expect Mel to do that? Especially when Stormy has made it clear that they're just associates. She's the one who said that in the last reunion, maybe 2 reunions ago, or. So if we're associates, why would I put that much energy into defending you?
Mm-hmm.
And number two, even if I saw the comments, I'm not looking at it like that. Like, I'm not, like, Mel got stuff to do. I'm not.
Maybe she didn't see the comments. As busy as she
Yeah,
is.
maybe. I mean, I think she probably did, but at the end of the day, she has no motivation to jump in the comments and defend
Okay,
you.
but my thing is, okay, maybe she saw some comments. That doesn't mean she saw the comments that were
The
called
comment.
Stormy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's a storyline.
Yeah. I mean, there were a lot of comments. there
I'm
were a
just,
lot of,
I'm
there
just
were a
saying,
lot of you talk about Stormy comments. I remember.
if you if
And
you
I love
can't
me some Mel,
if you
but
can't be certain that she saw it, then let's not like make this as big as it is my point.
yeah, I mean, it's just silly. Like, we're all grown, and you talking about comments.
Talking about comments. And then I
Come
was
on,
like, I
like,
thought Stormy was gonna be like, oh, like maybe try to pull back in the reunion, but even she leaned in and was like, well, I mean, y'all got to stop
Yeah,
letting y'all
it's
mom
simple.
lead y'all in these conversations, because mom is not strategic enough to play ball in reality TV. Mom is going to lean into mom. She's going to lean into her old school, elderly, around the way isms
Right.
and have you looking silly.
The saddest thing I have seen witness on this platform is everybody being friends with Mel and deciding not to, because she is the light of this show. Like, if you want to ascend, stick with Mel.
It just be so, it's so clear.
It's simple. And they all be like,
Me
nah,
and Mel be rocking. It would be nothing. It would. There's nothing you could say to me about Mel. We would be rocking.
I'm
Like,
rocking. Right.
couldn't say nothing.
And it gives the whole, like, we all Real Housewives of Potomac, we all get annoyed with Giselle and Robin, but they rock together.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have conflict with the queen bee. You just don't. I know everybody gets on the show and they think the best way to make my name on this platform is to come for the number one person, but it don't have to be like that, because your longevity is aligning with Mel, to be honest.
And then when you think about it again, for her to go through what she went through, y'all to know that and to have history with this woman and not to extend more
Grace.
and I'm gonna even say like support, like a safe space, like to be that for her in this time. I feel, I don't know, like I'm kind of over
I
a
mean,
few of them.
sadly though, I feel like people get into this, like, everybody has gone through this before, so why is she any different? That I've seen that a lot. Like, girl, get it together, move on. Like, what you mean she has moved on? She keeps telling this man she don't want him, and all we see is him saying, you know going out on a limb saying, I'll see if she'll take me back, but then acting like it never happened.
It never happened. Because if Mel were to say, okay, let's work it out
Instantly. Or if Mel would have been like, stop playing with me, and drop her receipts, because I know he'd be texting her and like asking her to, can we get back?
oh man.
He's not bright, so I know he has a trail.
And then just going back to Tisha, like you can't extend that grace to Mel, but you want us to be a safe space for you and your marriage, and to stop talking about the very clear patterns and signs that we see of a man.
But we've seen that Tisha doesn't have the, like Kiki said, to decipher. Like, you're a little too.
Didn't she call her stupid? Did she call her stupid?
Yeah, I think she said dumb or stupid. But I mean, we've seen that with Tisha and Kimmy, like her expecting Kimmy to have her back, but she never has
Kimmy's back. Like she never spoke up when it was time to speak up for Kimmy.
It doesn't click. Like, if you want this, there should be reciprocity. Like, you should be doing it for me too. It never clicks with her. But anyway, I'm over it. It was a good reunion. Glad we got a chance to,
To
debrief.
chime in, right? Let's see what part 3 is gonna give us. I didn't see the trailer or like the sneak peek or anything. Did you see the sneak
Yeah,
peek?
I mean, part 3 is always kind of like a catch all.
Let's wrap it on up. Let's talk about what's next. Oh, the last thing we didn't mention is Tiffany. Tiffany, I'm not laughing at the reason that she stepped away from the show. I'm not laughing at, because
Oh no,
gotta take care of you. However, when Carlos was like, anytime you want to come back,
that was quite honestly, I think that was just an HR extension.
Okay, because I was like, Carlos,
like, if someone takes
we got
FMLA
Kiki now.
yeah, someone takes FMLA leave, or like is like, truly this is an HR, I stepped away and they have to handle it legally, then of course he's like, we would love to have you back, but they not.
We got Kiki. We got Kiki. What's her husband's name?
Fahim? No.
Oh,
I don't.
Kiki and her husband.
I don't offensive. I think it's somewhere in that realm, but
and Nell and Chris. We didn't hear from Nell and Chris that much yet. We're gonna hear from them on the next part.
Yeah, I like Nell and Chris.
I like Nell and Chris a lot.
Hear from them, but Nell was like, Martell, you told me on and off camera
that you want to get back with your wife.
Right.
Idiot.
Anyway, let us not digress. We nah.
Liar.
Motha Knows. We in there.
We'll be back with more.
Yeah. at Motha_knows on Instagram, at Motha
Let's
Knows
go.
on TikTok and YouTube. And thank y'all. We'll talk later.
Bye.